Hello everyone, N4K here once again, bringing you more of something different. This time, we're doing episode 2 of my series where I theorize what deck a character might use if they played Go format, taking into consideration their personality, story, and cards they have used in the series, if any. The character this time is of course Joey Wheeler, the best friend of Yugi and greatest bro in all of anime and manga. Joey generally plays luck-based strategies, equips spells, and warrior-type monsters, mixing together both high attack and low attack monsters to win. My first instinct was to make a Gearfried-centric Warrior deck for Joey, but not only do I have a different Gearfried deck profile for the future, but I also want to show off a unique card Joey is known for, and that is the namesake of the format.
Activate the magic card Scapegoat!
Scapegoat. With that in mind, I took a warrior goat shell and modified it to better fit Joey's playstyle, even if just a bit. That brought me to... Now, for those unfamiliar, the goat warrior deck does look a bit eclectic, but it has gotten good performance in the past, and it can play either like a normal warrior deck, or it can sort of play like a complete control deck. I do think that Joey would probably be a bit upset to use Pegasus's cards, but I think also that he would realize that it is the best way to utilize Scapegoat in something that isn't like a burn or alt-win strategy, and I don't think Joey would much like to use Reasoning Gate. With that said, we can see that the deck's boss monster is BLS, but also of course because we're running Scapegoat, and the metamorphosis that our other boss is Thousand Eyes Restrict. It was difficult to fit a lot of cards that Joey had. It's going to be a little less than last time, but I think I did a fair bit. And let's take a look at what cards are specifically Joey's. First up here, we have Goblin Attack Force, a 2300 beater that goes to defense after attacks. Joey did play this card to great effect in the anime, and it's good because you can take out attack mode sorcerers, defense mode sorcerers, swing in for a lot of damage, and put the opponent on a clock. And generally just a useful card, one of, because you do want to have lights and darks in this deck, and it's not always the greatest card. There was some consideration to make this a more Earth aggro style deck, but that doesn't really play so well with Thousand Eyes Restrict, so I decided not to go that route. Second up, we have Mataza or Mataza the Zapper, and he did not use this card specifically. However, he did use Hayabusa Knight, which is essentially the same card, but Mataza the Zapper is a straight upgrade in every way. It has more attack, more defense, it's dark, so it's good for our BLS. It also can't change position, so the opponent can't snatch steal it, and the opponent can't use Thousand Eyes Restrict on it either. So overall, it's just so much better, but also it has armor similar to Masaki, the legendary swordsman, so it has two ties in that way to Joey. Also, of course, we have Jinzo, one of Joey's famous boss monsters, and we are running a low trap count because of that, which is slightly counterproductive because Joey played a lot of traps, but also those traps aren't that great in Go format, and on top of that, I think that the deck doesn't have a lot of room for those traps either, unfortunately. Next up, we have Sasuke Samurai, which he used, and a lot of players will use Mystic Swordsman level 2. Sasuke Samurai is technically worse because of its lower attack, but also it has the advantage of, if it's booked, the opponent can't then destroy it with Magician of Faith after it's flip summoned. So there's that. And to go along with that, we have Sasuke Samurai number 4. He did not play this card specifically, but not only is it part of the Sasuke Samurai line, it also has a coin flip effect, which I think fits perfectly for Joey, and it's a decent card without being like completely bonkers to play in a deck. You also technically could consider playing Time Wizard in this deck if you really wanted, or even taking out some of the warriors for Apprentice Magician and being able to bring out that Time Wizard with Apprentice Magician. But I decided to stick more to the warrior package, and so this is what I got. Next up, we have the spell cards, and I went with Giant Trunade, of course, which allows you to potentially set up for some OTKs or being able to return the monster that you sucked up 1,000 as a strict and then grab a different monster, which is rare, but it can still be useful. And there is a way to OTK the opponent here, and I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, you can also reuse Premature Burial, which is another card that he used in the series. And of course, we're playing 3 copies of Scapegoat. Just a unique, fun card that Joey used in the anime. And unfortunately, we don't have Panther Warrior to combo with it, but if we did, I definitely would include it in this deck, even though it's not the greatest. It would just be really cool to have Scapegoat, even if you're not using it for 1,000 as strict plays, it still can protect your life points, and it combos with the card United We Stand, which again, Joey didn't play United We Stand specifically, but it is an equip spell card, and Joey really loved to use equip spells in the anime, and I think it's one of the best equip spells other than Premature Burial and Snatch Steal, so it makes sense that if he wants to play equips, he'd be playing United We Stand. And of course, that combos with Scapegoat. You could even just put it on a token, but also you could put it on Mataza the Zapper or onto Blackluster Soldier to just do tons of damage to the opponent, potentially OTK them. And rounding up all the cards that he used, we have the Warrior Returning Alive, which is a spell card that lets you add a warrior monster from your graveyard to your hand, which he did use in the series. And it's not the greatest card in Go format just because you are especially going to be banishing some of your monsters. But you know, sometimes you get to use it to reuse effects such as your Exiled Force and your Matazad setup for the combo again, and so on and so forth. And to round up the entire package, we have the one trap that we're playing that Joey played, which was Bottomless Trap Hole. He played a lot of trap hole cards, so I had to include at least one trap hole. He also played regular trap hole and some trap holes that we got later on, but I think Bottomless Trap Hole makes the most sense here because you can remove things like Chaos Sorcerers, opposing warriors that have more attack than like Don Zalug, such as opposing Blade Knights and so on. And just generally probably the better choice for trap holes against an open field. And of course, as I mentioned, we're playing BLS, one copy of Blade Knight, which Joey might be angry a bit to play a card that Kaiba played as well, but I think he would recognize that it is a really good card to have access to with Reinforcing the Army, and kind of need it for Blackluster Soldier to go online. Playing Breaker, of course, which Joey has a bond with Yugi in that. DD Warrior Lady, she's a light monster, and she has a decent effect. Exiled Force, one copy of Magician of Faith. You could play 2 if you really wanted, or none technically, but I like to include 1 just so that we have an extra light, and we have something that we can use Metamorphosis on, other than just our Scapegoats and our Serpent, which we are, of course, playing Serpent as well. We also have Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke here. He helps us because not only, again, he's a light, but he can also destroy things such as Gravekeeper Spy. And again, there is a small connection because he has Sasuke in his name. Sangan, of course, searches most of your monsters, helps you set up for the Mataza combo, gets you your Sasuke Samurai if you need it. Either one of them gets you your Exiled Force, your Magician of Faith, or your Serpent. Then we have Tribe Infecting Virus, of course, and Tsukiyomi, just 1 copy. It can actually let you reset Goblin Attack Force to change it to attack mode, even if you normally wouldn't be able to if you didn't know that combo. But also, of course, it allows us to reset Magician of Faith and it allows us to reset the Thousand Eyes Restrict, and it also allows us to attack over some opposing warrior monsters and Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer and so on. Delinquent Duo, Charity, Heavy Storm, 2 copies of Metamorphosis. You could play 3, but since we're running a low count of level 1 monsters, I think 2 is fine. MST, 2 Noblemen, 2 Reinforcement of the Army, Snatch Steel, Call the Haunted, Air Force, Ring Instruction, and Torrential. Some considerations for the side deck or main deck would be Amazon's Archer for the side deck for when you're playing against burn strategies, or when you're playing in time. It allows you to burn the opponent for 1200 by attributing 2 monsters, so you would tribute off 2 Ojama tokens. And it does also fit for Joey because he did play some of Mai's cards, or specifically he played Cyber Harpy in his deck. Fiend Mega Cyber is something that he played as well. You could use it when you're playing against Scapegoat decks. And again, you could play the Time Wizard if you really wanted, but I think just as a standalone card, it isn't so great. It's better in more dedicated control decks than this deck, as opposed to aggressive decks. You could have the other Bottomless Trap Hole. Drop-offs when you're playing against combo decks. 2 Royal Decrees is basically extra copies of Jinzo. Regular Trap Holes for when you're playing against warriors or other aggro decks. Book of Moon is something that I really wanted to fit in here, and I think it definitely would work great in this deck. Combos with Sasuke Samurais, also combos with your Thousand Eyes Restrict, and just helps you protect your monsters generally as well. It can also stop a Kaiku, so you can then drop your BOS. Unwalk, and because you're playing the Giant Trunade, you can use Swords Revealing Light to recycle. Then to finish up the deck, of course, he's going to be using his fusions from the series, including Black Skull Dragon, Dark Flare Knight, Flame Swordsman, Giltia the D-Knight, Carbonala Warrior, and of course he's also going to be playing the regular retinue of fusion monsters besides Thousand Eyes Restrict that you would normally use in a goat deck. And that's it for the deck profile. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you think about this, what you might change, as well as if there's another character that you would like to see me make a deck of. Have a good one.